Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Name of Show here. I'm your host, Troy Hannafin, and tonight we will be noshing on Paying It Forward Christmas Style. And I'm going to be talking to a couple of guests who've been volunteering their time, bringing Christmas magic to some family homes with a very special person you may know of. I'm not sure. And that is my two guests, Alison and Dave. Thank you both for joining me tonight.
It's great to be here.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Excellent. Now, before we get into what you're doing on this special time of year, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what Christmas meant to you as a child?
Actually, Christmas was always, it was so eventful. My mom was always so full of us, taking in every holiday occasion. And my dad's birthday happened to be Christmas Day. So we always had a big celebration on the 24th, not to take away from his birthday. But on the 25th, we had such a great morning. My mom always put so much emphasis on our gifts, and we had people over, and it was a really great time. But my mom's big, what she's known for is how much she gives back. And so I feel like it's, filtered down to all of us, and she's been such an amazing example of that. So yeah, no, I can't say enough about my childhood Christmases. They were great. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was an only child. I grew up in Duncan, and my mom was one of 8 kids. So we always had these massive family gatherings. Usually they took place in Chemainus because that's where my grandparents were at. And it was always, caroling and unwrapping gifts and stuffing our faces with all sorts of great food. And, it was just a magical, magical time. And it's just not like that anymore. So, we're just trying to do what we can to sort of bring that back a little bit.
Now, Alison, why don't you tell us what it is you and Dave have been doing and how did it all start?
Well, actually, it started last year when Dave was the first year being the mall Santa at Woodgrove Mall. And he had already volunteered previous few years at daycares and other venues. And so Dave bought the Santa suit, and we had some friends with young kids that we arranged on Christmas Eve to go to their house. It was just a few friends, but then plans changed with them. And so all of a sudden I was like, oh, I still want to do this. It just seems so fun. And I'm a part of a Facebook group that I just thought, I asked Dave and I said, can we put this out there just to see if we get a response? It was one of those things I had no idea. So I put it out there that, Santa and the elf would be coming by with gifts and on Christmas Eve, and, who would be interested? Well, it was an overwhelming response. Awesome. And so we ended up going to, we went to 10 houses with 25 kids and 2 adults. And honestly, it was the most amazing night ever. I can truly say, like, we got just as much out of it, if not more than they did. So yeah, it was great.
And Dave, you were a Santa Claus before you guys started doing these surprise home visits. How did that come about?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't think anybody sets out to, dream about being Santa, and I certainly didn't. But we had some friends that had kids in daycare, and this daycare used to have 2 Christmas parties, one for the kids that were in the mornings, one for the afternoons. And they always had a Santa, but the Santa couldn't make it, and they couldn't find anybody. So I said, well, do they have a suit? And they did. So I was like, well, if they've got all the stuff for it, I could give it a try, I'm a bit of a, I crave attention. So I thought, yeah, exactly. So I thought, sure, I would do that. And I did it the first year, and it was, it was different, but it was something different. Just being so close, seeing those kids' reactions was really cool. So I did that for 3 years. And then I filled in for somebody again for down at the convention center for for neurodivergent kids.
Oh, okay.
So it was a more subdued thing with Santa, and they were a person short, so I did it there. And after I posted the pictures, the lady who hires everywhere for Santas saw and said, hey, one of my guys is retiring. Would you like to be a mall Santa this upcoming Christmas season, which was last year? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I thought this would be great. I was a little nervous because it's one thing to sit there for 20 minutes and hand out pre-wrapped presents. It's another to be there for hours, So that's kind of how I rolled into it, and it's been so rewarding, and it's been way more fun than it really should be. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Now, the Facebook group you were part of, which one was that again? It was like Mamas for...
Mamas for Mamas.
Mamas
Yes.
for Mamas,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
And so that was, already something where people were supporting one another. And is that sort of how this kind of developed into its own
Yes.
entity or this endeavor that you're
Yeah,
doing?
I just literally thought, I do see a lot of single mothers on there, and I just thought, if we could bring, some hope to family that's struggling a bit, especially at Christmas, it would be worth it just for that. And as I say, the response and the feedback afterwards was overwhelming. Yeah, and I mean, so many people posted in the rants and raves, and just the raves, I mean, and it was just so encouraging. And I just said, this is our calling. I said, we're going to do it bigger this next year, which is this year. We almost tripled our numbers. And I said, I just feel like this is what we're meant to do. So, yeah.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, if people want to learn more about this, you guys, I believe you have a website or a landing page at least. Where can people find that?
Well, our website is actually called santasurprisehousecalls.ca. And then through the website is my email address, my personal one. And that's where people can contact me if they want to help in any way, shape, or form. That would be great. So,
right.
Yeah.
And so this is, you guys are volunteering your own time. And you've gone out and you bought the suit, you were saying. So
Yes.
you're well prepared to be Santa at the drop of a Santa's hat.
Yeah, not
I would
quite
imagine.
jumping in and out of a phone booth, but close.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Are you wearing one right now?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. No, but when you said the Santa had retired, you had an interesting story on how you actually were a bit of a fanboy on that
I was.
Santa, weren't you?
So just the way things worked out, I was working in the mall in 2011, and the store that I was at, Santa was right in front. That's where they were set up. And, it wasn't a super busy store all the time, so there were little lulls, and I would sometimes, just kind of watch him and see how he did things. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a Santa that sort of was more theatrical and more engaging and really trying to focus on making the experience fun for the people that were there. I don't know about you, but for me, growing up, it was always, some grumpy old guy, he'd sit on his lap and without making eye contact, he'd be like, what do you want for Christmas? Here's a candy cane,
Yeah, I was going to say, half of them were smoking cigarettes when I was a kid.
So watching this guy, he was absolutely fantastic, and people started calling him the good one, and just phenomenal. Of course, I was a little nervous because I'm replacing the good one, but I think I'm doing an okay job, and he was fantastic. He changed how I thought of it.
That's incredible. Now, you also, Alison, you were talking when we were together last week, having a little interview. You were talking about some special people you've done this for and how they touched you. Can you tell us some of the experience you've had while doing this Santa visits?
Well, I think actually one of the great things that that made this extra special is when I contacted them, when the moms contacted me, of course I got the kids' age and their wish list. But I think what makes this really unique is I got them to tell me some unique, anything about them, what are their special interests, sports, their favorite reindeer, whatever that looks like. And so one of the houses that we went to told us the name of their two favorite elves. That's right, two favorite elves. And so, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that there were really names for elves. I think he just did name them. But it was actually the first house we went to. And this was amazing. We went there, the boy was 7 and his brother was 14. And the look on his face, he told his mom afterwards, he just about passed out. Like he literally looked like he went white. We walked in, and when Santa said, the name of his favorite elves, he literally just froze and didn't almost know what to do. And so we engaged and, talked about other things. Even his brother at 14, he was right in there, took some pictures. The little boy went and got Santa hot chocolate. Like he was they were really into it. We were there for a few, good 10 or 15 minutes. It was great. But what the best part was is the mom gave me feedback later that he instantly, when we left, he phoned his grandma and said, I knew it was the real Santa because he knew my elves' names. And she said to me, just because we happened to be in touch the last year, that it's something that's been brought up many times during the year, and what an impression that made. So, when you hear that, it's everything. It's those little things that make such a big difference. So, yeah.
And do you have any standouts in your mind as well?
Actually, just one little thing about that one, which was kind of funny. I think we were both a little bit nervous because it was our first one, and we're not this big registered charity. We're just a couple of schmoes that said, let's do something nice. And so we were a bit nervous. And when I walked in, I was like thinking, what if I screw up the elves' names? But I didn't. And I remember the kid asked me if I wanted a hot chocolate. I was like, that'd be great. And he's like, I'm on it, Santa. And he ran into the kitchen. It was pretty cool. I think for me, we had one adult with a disability and an intellectual disability. And when we knocked on the door opened, and instantly, like old friends, she just gave me a big hug because, it's Santa. So that was amazing. And then when we went inside, we talked about things. She told me her favorite group was One Direction. I named the one song that I knew. And she said, that's my favorite. And I said, mine too. And then we took a picture. And while we were sitting there on the couch, like this, she just slid her little hand over onto my knee. And it was so cute. So that was great. She just really had such a good experience. And it was like, I felt like I was her old friend. It was just fantastic. And then another one that really, I think, made the biggest difference for both of us. There was one family that had, some people out of work, had some family moving back in with them. Anyway, long story short, they had 9 kids under the same roof, and they didn't have a lot. And so we managed to get a few donations here and there. And so in addition to some presents, we also brought some turkeys and eggs and things like that. And when we got there, they had gone out of the way to make a seat for Santa, similar to what you'd see, in the mall. Yeah. Even though they didn't have a lot, they really worked hard to make, that happen. And then they were all there in seats, like watching the proceedings. And it was just, it was very powerful. The mom was so thankful when we hugged her after it was all over. And I think the whole car ride was probably a 45-minute drive to get home after that last one. And man, we were just floating. It was incredible. And just to know that, we all have times in our lives where things don't go our way. And sometimes the best way to handle it is just maybe try and help somebody else out, And so that really made a difference for us. Yeah, I think that was a great one for me. And of course, at the very, very end of the night, as I'm walking down the driveway to get in the car, a carload of teenagers rips by and they're like, oh my God, it's Santa. So they jump, can we get a picture? So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I went over and took a picture with all these teenagers and stuff. It's like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night or something.
Santa selfies.
Yeah, exactly. So it was so much fun. I couldn't believe the engagement. And yeah, I'm really excited about doing it this year for sure.
Me too. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, you were saying you tripled the number. What exactly, how many visits, how many people are you going to see this year?
Well, it was 66, but we're at 67 now. We've added one. We're at 24 houses and 67 kids. And so what we're doing is we're doing 8 one night, 10 on the 23rd, and then we're going to do the 6 on the 24th. So yeah, we've just... they're definitely closer together than they were last year. Last year we were going quite extreme, different directions, and that was okay. But we, just how it worked out. So so we're getting it all lined up. I'm actually at the moment making the routes and telling people, okay, we'll be there at approximately this time. So I'll text you ahead to say, because we can't say exactly what time, So
well, you don't know how long it's going to take at each home.
You don't want to take away from that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, one family had us in for quite a while, quite a while. And I mean, even the last house that had us in for quite a while too. The little boy had written a letter at 8:30 at night. Sorry, Santa, I'm sorry I missed you. And then 10 to 9 we show up. Oh my goodness, the look like that was another story that just, she said, and once again, he was 7. It's that, and you're on the line with those ages, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So
Still
yeah.
young enough to believe. Next step is a Santa tracker,
Yeah.
I guess, eh?
Yeah, yeah, that'd be
Yes.
perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe just use like a air tile or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Now, you were mentioning before, you're not a nonprofit, you're not a registered charity. This is just something that you're doing on your own. However, you are taking donations, though, to help this magic happen for some families. How do people, again, sort of get involved that way if they want to? But also, before we go there, you were talking about your plans for the future of this, because you guys are thinking a little larger, but you're only 2 people who can do this. So let's talk about how do people donate if they want to donate, and then tell us what the future plans or what you would like to see happen.
Well, at the moment, we seem to be almost there with gifts, and I find, because I do have the list of exactly what everybody wants. At the moment, I'm finding we have had lots of donations of toys, but at the moment, I'm finding it would be great just to have cash, just because, so we can just keep it, so I can just buy those personalized items. And in addition to doing the kids, I have chosen 2 families that I want to help a little further, as far as some gift cards for like the Walmart, the mall, superstore, and give the mom a little something, because I feel like, what, she deserves, we're talking, single with 4 kids, and it's going all to them. So I think she needs to feel extra special too. So I'm doing that with two women. So
I totally agree.
Yeah,
I wish my mom got more for Christmas. But yeah, so what's the future look like? Or
so this was Alison's idea. Like, I was perfectly content to sit down and play Fortnite on Christmas Eve, but this was a great idea, and I love giving back too, and I've done a lot of it, and my family did a lot of it. And so because like you said, it's just us 2. Like, we could have a staff meeting. This is it. This is the whole company right here. And so we can only hit so many places. So in a perfect world, if I could bust out the crystal ball and see my future, I would love to have maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 teams of a Santa with an elf to go to the different houses and just hopefully hit that same standard that we're aiming for. Maybe we end up with more donations, and we can go to more houses, have more families enjoy Christmas, and I just think not everybody needs to do the biggest thing to make a difference. Sometimes it's just something small. And so, I'm sure there's other people out there who aren't super busy around the holidays that would like to do that. So I think, going forward, somewhere down the line, I'd like to have multiple teams. I think that'd be great.
And the Santa and the elf really complementing each other. One would not work without the other. It would, So if Santa just walked in and it wouldn't be the same. So it just works well with the 2. So.
And Mrs. Claus, the elves are doing the work, so let's bring the elves along, right?
Exactly.
And Mrs. Claus needs a break.
Exactly.
She needs a break.
Yes.
Taking care of the big guy 364 days a year can be tough. Imagine how much he eats.
Yeah.
How much does Dave eat?
Yeah.
When he's being Santa, how much does he eat?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I tend to, you don't want to have any like liver and onions or something heavy and garlic or some Indian food before you're, meeting with a bunch of kids, because sometimes they're on your lap, right?
Yeah.
So I try to eat something pretty boring, like an hour before I start, so that, I can brush my teeth, everything's cool, and yeah.
But the future plans of this, or the crystal ball that you were talking about, I think, again, it's like you said, if people just do something small, scaled down, and that's what I really was excited about getting you 2 on the program tonight, is because it's that, you're giving people a bit of magic, that need it, especially this time of year, and it's fantastic. And people can do stuff like this, and it doesn't have to just be around Christmas time either, right? It could be any time.
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, you've heard of people buying the next car at Tim Hortons or the car behind them. I'll pay for the coffees or whatever that looks like. I sometimes just think, if we, it doesn't have to be grandiose, but just on some level, something throughout the year. And that's what I'm hoping that this message, comes across as. So, yeah.
and to inspire some people, I
Yes.
hear you brought a video
Yes.
that we can throw to right now and show people what it is, a little bit about how you guys make this magic happen. Okay, so let's watch that right now.
Awesome.
That was fantastic. That was really good. Now, you're in a bodysuit, right? You've got a fake belly on and stuff like this, and you're going to visit 24 homes, 67 children. What's that like? Like, how do you stay hydrated? How do you like keep yourself cool, or do you? You just
It's a short burst, really, in the whole grand scheme of things, right? Like, we know this is coming up. We'll be ready. Typically, the way it goes is Alison's really on top of like the specifics of each of the people. And, I study up on it so that I know what I'm doing. But as we're approaching the next place, she'll go over things with me just so I'm, not mentioning something from, 2 houses away or something. And then, we're usually, I'd say probably 15 to 20 minutes, unless, there's a ton of kids. And then it's right back into the car. Off comes the wig, beard, and hat, and I hydrate, chuck back a few Gatorade. It's a little tough because I don't think my natural voice sounds very Santa-ish, so I try to drop it down. And that's hard to do over, an extended period of time, especially when you're trying to bring the excitement up. So I, sometimes will have a couple of halls or a fisherman's friend or something. But, it's not so bad at the end of the night. Santa sounds a little bit like Clint Eastwood, so, go ahead, make my Christmas.
So what's it like? I can imagine after hearing that, you're starting what November 15th, he becomes this prima donna where he's like, oh, I got to watch my voice.
Yeah,
Is that, oops, sorry, I just touched my mic. So what's it like living with Santa Dave?
It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I get just like, this fills me up seeing the enthusiasm when he's doing it at the mall. I purposely go at times just to watch, and every time he comes home, he literally is on such a high, telling me about all the stories and all the kids and the different things that went on, and that's what, to me, that's just what it's about. So, I mean, he's playing hide and go seek with a little girl the other day in Old Navy when he was, then in between people.
Yeah.
So it's, those kinds of things it just makes it, I love it so much. So, yeah. No, this is a great time of year. The reason we couldn't probably do way, way more houses as well is because he's playing Santa at the mall and we're doing this. So we had to sort of fit it in. I could see doing this more if he wasn't doing Santa, but that's not the case, and that's okay, So
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
It's so much fun.
yeah. I actually think he's born to do this. He used to say he loves John Cena, or he started, not used to. He still loves John Cena, and
He's so yesterday's news.
yeah, exactly.
Well, with all the Make-A-Wish things that he does, like, I mean,
Definitely.
I am not famous, but if I were, I would like to emulate John Cena. I just think it's great how he, makes people's lives better.
Absolutely. And I just said, you get to be him, with the way the kids look at you. And then, when we do this, so. Yeah.
You are a superstar, yes.
Yes.
Santa is definitely a superstar. And imagine how that girl, you've probably elongated her belief in Santa a few years just by like, wow, I was playing hide and seek with Santa Claus. That's amazing. It's just affecting people that you're going to. It's just emotionally, what is that? I know it's wonderful, but emotionally you must be exhausted at the end of these.
Oh, we are. Well, I mean, we literally have laughed about this several times. I actually said to Dave when I came home last year, I wasn't even in bed. I was just lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling. And he came in and just laughed his head off at me. And I just said, I have never been so filled up, but I'm also so exhausted. We had been invited to my sister-in-law's families for a party because they party all night. And they have, Filipino traditions where they go till 3 a.m. And we just said we can't do it this year, but this year we're going to bring it down where we deliver more in the day, so we can go to that because my mom's coming out. But it was the best exhaustion I've ever felt. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we still laugh about it. Yeah,
it was pretty. She was. I just glanced over and she just looked like a zombie, and I couldn't stop laughing.
I know.
So can anyone apply for this? Like the families that you're like, do they give you stories? Like, what is the process like? Do they send you an email saying, I would love to have Santa, brighten up my child's life, and then you have to decide who?
Actually, to be honest, it's first come, first serve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like literally, I said yes to so many people, and I kept my commitment. I put whoever we couldn't get to last year, I put them on a waiting list or put them on a list and contacted them this year, and they were so surprised. They're like, you remembered us. I thought, no, I have to make that happen. And so what was actually neat is a few of the houses that we couldn't get to, Dave does videos when he's waiting at Woodgrove to go on the set to be Santa. And so he has some time where he'll make some personalized videos. Same thing, I'll say, tell me your child's interests or some special things that they do, what's unique about them. And he did this video, and that was great. They absolutely love that. So, but I only have, I think, 5 on the list for next year. We haven't completely decided on how many, but really basically I got the list from Mamas for Mamas group, or now that we're going a little more public, they could email me and say, could I be on the list for next year? And yeah. All right. So yeah.
And that website one more time is
santasurprisehousecalls.ca.
All right.
Yes.
So get on the list. Thank you again, both of you, for joining me. This has been amazing. Again, I'm just imagining you as Santa again. That's fantastic. And it's, oh my God, it's amazing. I don't even know how I want to close this because, yeah.
Well, if I could just throw in just one last thing.
Yes, please.
Just because this is something that, I take very seriously. I'm super passionate about it. And it's, there's such a narrow window in our lives where there's magic. I always say that, once kids start school, I don't want to be around them because that's when they start to get tainted. But it's so humbling to be, like Santa is such an icon, like Tay-Tay. And so to be sitting there looking at the kids, looking at their hero, like it's amazing. And I take it very seriously. Like, I don't go there to dress up and put on a costume. I go there to be Santa because I think it's important to really make that experience special for the kids. And kids aren't dumb. I just think it's really important to really be present and really help those kids. So, yeah.
Yeah. Think of our innocence, our childhood. The innocence is such a short window. So if you can be a part of that, which I feel this is what gives us so much too. We're just really fortunate. So yeah, it's great.
Well, I think what you're doing is wonderful, and thank you again for coming on our show.
Our pleasure.
And I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank the volunteers for coming out tonight and making this show happen. This has been Alison and Dave, the elf and Santa, and catch us next time on Name of Show here. Have a great night. Thank you, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho.
Nice.